Damn, I gotta try to not do anything that would require cutting because we literally do not have someone to cut. All right.
Welcome to Spinsters, a podcast where we mail it in. I'm Jordan. That's Haley. It's just us.
Literally just us.
Fingers crossed. I don't remember the last time it's been just us, but it's going to be fun. We have a mailbag. Before we get into it, I wanted to say that this episode is brought to you by doTERRA. doTERRA's Deep Blue Soothing Blend has been used by athletes and fitness enthusiasts worldwide for more than a decade. Now it's easier than ever to apply with the Deep Blue stick. We love doTERRA.
Yeah, love doTERRA
so much. Learn more at doTERRA.com/spinsters.
Harry's sick, so Harry's not here. There was a lot of Harry questions. Sierra's also on a train right now. So like Jordan said, it is just us. We're going to have to try to be professional. Some of these questions are like advicey, which is cracking me up because my hair right now is a bird's nest. If I walked outside, a small family of blue jays would take residence in it.
And yet we still ask for your advice.
But you look put together though, Jordan.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look pretty. Okay. First question is from Aiden. Aiden says, what NBA players would you want to participate in NBA Survivor? Who would you put on each tribe and who do you think would win? Assemble the most chaotic vibes team possible. This is a question dear to my heart. I don't think you watch Survivor, do you?
I do not watch Survivor. So I could just go off of chaos, but I feel like yours would actually be strategic to the show. But I don't think I've ever seen one episode of Survivor.
I texted Sean, actually, who we were talking to earlier in the day for 3 hours. And because he is the Survivor super fan. But I definitely watch. I got really into this last season. So I assembled 3 tribes of 4 people.
Okay.
I'm gonna name the tribes. I'm just gonna call them tribe 1, tribe 2, etc. Tribe 1, kicking off with the guy that is probably the most indisputably Survivor material, which is Steven Adams. He literally has one of those tattoos. He's got the hair, he's got the mustache, the expression.
Totally.
He could play a superhero in a movie. Yeah, Steven Adams is the first member of this tribe, which I will just kind of preface by saying this is definitely the one that is dominating in challenges. A lot of competitive figures here, a lot of people who are like very athletically blessed in the way that Survivor requires you to be, which I guess is just mostly like balance and sometimes strength. Number 2, I guess this is actually a 5-person team. Now that I'm looking at, did I make them all 5-person teams? Yes, I did. Okay, good. Thank you, Haley, 5 minutes ago. The Morris twins.
Oh,
taking them both. I think that this works to actually someone else's advantage, which I'll get to in probably I'd say 35 seconds. Okay, then we've got Robert Williams. We've got another Williams coming up. Just keep in mind, this is Robert Williams. And the final person on this team is Spencer Dinwiddie. Now, I believe Dinwiddie will be the brains behind this operation. He is going to use the twins as pawns against each other. I think that he has a real shot of winning it all. As you know, from just overhearing me and Sean have this conversation, the brawn, the big guy usually does not win. It's a lot like a defender.
You guys have said that
in the NFL. Yeah, they don't usually win the big awards, aka like it all. They don't win the money in Survivor. Okay, but they do win the individual challenges, but then their team is too much of a threat.
Got it. I do have a question. Yep. So when you're a part of a tribe, this is not a team show. Like it's for yourself. So even if your tribe wins something, it's really about you.
It is an individual show that it's a lot like US tennis. I'm coming up with this on the fly. Or gymnast, right? There's not team sports, but you are under the same umbrella. right?
Got
And
it.
one of the teams does leave the Olympics as a winner, even in individual sports. However, that's not the same outcome here. It's not like one team wins everything. Eventually, when the tribes get small enough, they merge. So you have to survive that long. Now, where does it help that you're a team? Before you merge, the person, the tribe who loses these challenges, then they have to vote someone out. So if your tribe is like, we're the greatest team on earth, we're not losing anything, you have a far greater chance of making it to the merge.
Got it.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So tribe 2, this is the tribe that you underestimate, but inevitably has a couple contenders at the end who surprise you. Usually very skinny people in this type of tribe. So I started out with Tyler Hero. I think there's a lot of like pretty straightforward metaphors there to his or analogies. Yeah, analogies to his basketball career. Isaiah Thomas is randomly there. Like people are like, are you still in the NBA? And he's like, I don't know, but I'm here and I'm all for the team. He's probably going to get suckered into being an alliance that does not see it through for him, is not loyal back to him. Again,
no.
This is like the one thing that comes to my mind, but he fits very well in this team archetype. We've got Kent Bazemore, Grant Williams. So remember in Tribe 1, there was Robert Williams. Here we've got Grant Williams.
Okay.
This team is rounded out by Chris Paul. He is, of course, the obvious front runner. He's the one who's making all kinds of alliances. He's a smart player, right?
Shifty.
He's shifty. He's thinking like 5 plays ahead. But he comes out too hot. And this happens a lot in the most recent season. I'd say High is definitely one of the guys who came out just way too hot, and people will come out to get you. So yeah, I'm predicting makes an alliance with Grant. Grant thinks that's a done deal, but then Grant does him in behind his back. Yes. Tribe 3, this tribe does not trust each other for shit. I love this. This is what the aforementioned Aiden's chaotic vibes team. I think that they're just having like full collapses at tribal council, which is right when you're about to vote someone out. Like a lot of things are being said that are cryptic, but not too cryptic. Like everyone can read into it. Mutinies, alienations. That's this group. You know who's number 1. It's Draymond Green. Number 2, Robert Covington. I would never want to be in a competition with him that kind of had this environment where you're like, we are a team, but you also want to get rid of me, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Harris LeVert, no comment, but I want you to keep it in mind. Like years down the line, I'm going to text you, Karis LeVert, Survivor Type 3. And you're going to be like, you were right. Miles Turner, I feel like he is one of the people who would have a lot of self-doubt in this situation. Also last season, there was this guy, Romeo, who like was convinced he was the one who was getting chosen to be voted out, and he was not. But him doing that put him at risk, like for every tribal going forward. I think that would be Miles Turner.
I also think his Lego, like him loving Legos, putting things together, like that would come in handy for some type of competition, really using the brain in that way.
You're right, because basically all of these competitions are like if an escape room was easier and more physical. Yeah. And then I'm rounding that one out with Caruso. To me, either Dinwiddie or Caruso win the entire thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
My money's on Caruso just because.
Yeah.
Always.
I think he'd be damn it. I want to say sneaky good, but he's white and I hate putting sneaky next to any white player because they're always like sneaky athletic. Anyway, I wouldn't expect him to win. I guess it's saying the exact same thing. Okay. The next question. This one I'm posing to you first is from, I think these names are ripped from Twitter. So I don't know that this person's first name is actually Rusty. If it is, that's sick though.
It might be. Yeah.
That's very sick. Welcome to Kentucky, brother. Okay. He says, aside from playing, if you guys could have any job in either the WNBA or NBA, what jobs would you choose?
This is a great question. Because I feel like there are so many jobs. There are so many things that you could be involved in the NBA and WNBA somehow. But I think I have actually top 3. One is an agent. I think an agent would be fun because you are making a lot of money and you're like kind of becoming BFFs with them. And, you get to go to all the cool things that they are also invited to. So that would be fun. Two would be a former player turned assistant coach because you don't have pressure to like draw up a play, crunch time, but the players automatically respect you and you get to still be a part of the NBA, WNBA lifestyle, but not a player. Right?
Crucial to this one is that you never ascend to head player, head coach.
No,
you never ascend to that because then you start to have like real accountability. And I think what you're saying is like, look, I'm the experience guy. I'm the vibes guy. I'm the vibesologist. Like, I'm just here to let you know what happened to me when we were in this position. And that experience never goes away. But the minute you become a head coach, all of a sudden it's about wins and losses.
No. You are not being a head coach. You're just the person that they come to for advice because you have the experience. And that is key. And then lastly is a trainer, because you could also be in really great shape and then you're training them out. The whole thing that I'm trying to get at is I want to be invited to the star player of the team that I'm on's wedding.
Okay.
So as long as I'm at a job where I'm buddy with them to get on the wedding invite, that's where I want to be.
Automatic, like, don't think about it. NBA and WNBA, whose weddings would you top invite? Could have already been married.
Oh my God. Oh man. I mean, the vibes alone, just from clothes and outfits, Dame's wedding. Oh my gosh. From his multiple looks, from the guests that arrived, I feel like that was one of those weddings that was showing up on my timeline way longer after the actual ceremony happened. And then whenever Asia Wilson gets married, that's going to be an amazing wedding. Just the whole Aces team there. Yeah.
You know what to do. Yeah, it's tough with the wedding because you got to start building a relationship like over time. Yeah. You have to put a lot of work in.
Yes.
I think you get there though. She like engaged, she had prospects or
no. She was in a long relationship and then it didn't work out. So I can really get in there, as soon as the relationship starts, and then I'm there till the wedding day.
Yeah.
I'm there. Yeah. That's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, breakups are bad, but in some ways they're good. So for you. Yes. Okay. My job would differ between the NBA and the WNBA.
Okay.
I don't want to act like this job wouldn't exist in the WNBA. I think it also should, but I do think that it is more necessary in the NBA. Sorry to bring down the mood. But I want to run like some kind of like far more vigorous, what's the word, like intimacy education program. Ooh. Which would be as simple as like teaching things like what consent is and how power dynamics are affected when you are in a relationship where one person has money and fame, or maybe like more targeted programs.
That's great.
That are about anger management and things that we see happen with very important figures, and then just kind of nothing ever happens as a result after it happens. So what should we do? Educate at the beginning.
Yes.
And I'm not saying this in a sweeping, like I shouldn't, I don't need the disclaimer, but like, I'm not saying this in a sweeping way. Like every single NBA player absolutely needs this type of thing, but we've seen that far too many do.
Yes.
And totally. I just feel like at some point we're failing. You hear about the classes where NBA is like throw away, or make sure the condom's thrown away, and like break and put hot sauce on it. And if the league's not actually saying that, there are veterans above them who are saying that kind of thing.
Totally.
If you are giving that kind of advice, you also need to be giving advice that would help the entire dynamic and them as a person, which is not just saying like, this is how to avoid having a child. It's also saying this is how to make sure that your partner is actually into it and be in healthy relationships. And that's something a lot of people could benefit from. So
I love this idea.
That's my, yeah. And then, well, I have one more for the NBA, which is also kind of a bummer. I want to be the person in charge of doing the research. You know, teams are always like, yeah, we hired like a rapist, but we're doing our own research and we did our own research. Like, don't worry. Okay. I want to kind of take away the state's rights in this case, like the team's rights, and just make it a federal issue. And I'm the person who does the research. So basically they're like, hey, we want to hire this person. He's bad. And then I'd be like, well, you can't, because I did the research and it turns out this happened. Yeah. So,
actually doing the research, not
yes.
just saying that statement.
Yes,
that would
exactly.
be perfect for you. I feel like you would have a little badge, like it would be gold, and it would be like, I am the researcher, capital THE, the researcher.
Yeah, I'm doing the research.
Yeah.
And which is like kind of, you know, that we're saying that as in half of this is like haha, and then the other half is like, we just saw that the Browns didn't talk to a single person who filed suit against Deshaun Watson. So like this is actually
there was no research.
Yeah. So whatever. Federal rights. In this instance, I don't want to go into that because we don't have Harry to cut it up. All I want to say is that earlier we were on a call. I saw the video of AOC pretending to be handcuffed, and I can't stop thinking about it. And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
And then I'm going to change the subject to the job I do for the W. I think I'd want to do a marketing role because I feel like they really need help in just basic marketing. Or I could be the person who buys the trophies.
Either one. We need help in those areas. So I think you'd actually be so good at just being at the table in the marketing meetings. You'd be spewing out ideas. They would be like, whoa, we didn't even think of
letting fans into the skills competition. What? Yeah.
We didn't even think of a trophy that has a possibility of covering the player's face. Our budget for that was like $25. And Haley's like, what about 50? And they're like, whoa, we didn't even think about that. So yeah.
I was at my sister's over the weekend, and I've told you this before, but we grew up on a goat farm, and my sister did goats for 4-H. And I was telling her about the trophy. Me and my dad were talking about it, about how ridiculous it was. And she was like, what? So then she pulls out one of her old 4-H trophies. Certified country girl.
Time out. What is 4-H?
4-H is like, do you know what Future Farmers of America is?
I think so.
Basically, it's like this club for young people where they're like, hey, you're in farmland. And you go and you show the animals. So like, for example, I had a pig and I showed the pig.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like showmanship or
showmanship, like it's the best looking one.
All right.
And there's different kinds of attributes that they look for in each one. Or like if you're doing horses, there's like tricks and stuff. So a little bit about me. And she pulls it out, and it is, I shit you not, because we pulled the picture up 4 times the size of the trophy that they gave to Kelsey Plum. Is that who won it?
Yeah, that's who won it.
The goat like had udders on it. So the attention to detail. Mind you, she's in 3rd grade. It's 3rd grade 4-H, not even the biggest like winner. I think she might have got second. Like, I'm not even sure. But anyway, it's just the
comparison. It's not good. The best part about that whole situation was the Aces team made fun of it all on TikTok or on Instagram, and Kelsey Plum is like videoing it, and they're reenacting it with like a go-go squeeze, and they're like, this is a trophy, and they have like 2 fingers holding it.
Oh my
God. They're really funny. The whole team is absolutely hilarious, and they just made a whole joke out of it. And that was the best part about that whole ceremony, is the jokes after.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's so many alternate routes they could have taken. I think that's the issue. Like, if you are the most desperate league or person or whatever, but you still understand that visuals matter. Like just get one off Amazon and return it the next day. You know, like just do, which I'm not, that should be the absolute like last, that'd also be awful. But I think the problem is this league doesn't understand how bad the optics are of what it does. And that's where they're failing the most, is like other leagues are at least at this point, like, oh no, we're doing our research. You know what I mean? Like they're like pretending.
We're pretending to try.
The W is not even pretending to try. Yeah, in some instances. So that sucks.
Yeah, that was not great. But they could use you in marketing. Great job. That would be a wonderful. You're hired, actually.
If they see that next year's 3-point competition trophy has a goat with udders on it, just know.
How about we just borrow other people's trophies, like from other sports, nothing related, that just looks cooler? Borrow it, scratch the name off. That honestly might have been
cool. Yeah, start robberies, you know. Start a team now. Train them young. Just go figure out how to rob places. Dick's Sporting Good has trophies. Actually not Hobby. We're not supporting Hobby Lobby. Well, if you rob them,
that wouldn't be support. Wait.
Yeah, that's not support. Yeah, rob Hobby Lobby.
I don't know if I know that, but
Hobby Lobby took out an ad in the newspaper that was like, this is why only Christian people should run the government.
All right, Hobby Lobby.
So we're robbing Hobby Lobby.
Returning all my wedding stuff from Hobby Lobby. It wasn't a lot.
Let's go to Michael's.
Yeah.
Instead. I don't know. Michael probably sucks too. They all suck. Whatever.
They all suck. All right. So that was a great question.
Okay. Yeah. So the next question we don't have credit for, I'm going to go ahead and blame no one, because it's a team effort and Jordan and I didn't put this together. Okay. If you put this question, I'm sorry, we don't have credit for you. The question is, what is the longest grudge or beef you've had / held on to? It could be a person or a thing.
This one was a tough one. I don't typically hold grudges towards people. I feel like ex-boyfriends don't count. They're not really people to me. So they're that's like, is that a grudge? Probably. But I was gonna go with the thing.
Okay.
And that is raisins.
Oh. Big
grudge, big beef. Here's the story. Didn't start that way. Loved raisins as a kid. Would eat them like in the little boxes, down them. Favorite snack. I got so sick one time because I ate so many raisins that never touched one since. Going on, how old am I? 28. This is probably like 25-year grudge.
Yeah.
Tough for the raisin community.
Do you have a couple things like that? Because I just got back into mushrooms like a couple years ago.
Wow.
There was this girl, Brittany, who I'd hang out with in middle school, and her parents lived in the country in a cabin. And I remember this so distinctly because it was like everything felt like very, I don't know, like very early on survivalist vibes, if that makes sense. Like everything. Yeah. Cause they like, a lot of it was sustained by themselves, I think, including the mushrooms.
Wow.
So one night we wake up and she was like, do you want a snack? And I was like, yes, expecting a Rice Krispie treat. And instead she starts frying up mushrooms in a saute pan with a bunch of fucking butter.
Wow.
Like so much butter. Yeah. And so she's sauteing them. And, you know, I love butter. I love mushrooms.
Yeah.
I like things that are sauteed. I thought that was very cool that she was doing that in 4th grade. I was impressed. So I ate half and half of a whole carton. I just threw up the entire day next day. Yeah. And I really hadn't had anything like that since, except Jaeger. No, ma'am.
Gross.
Yeah, Jaeger and mushrooms, but I can eat mushrooms again. I really enjoy them.
But now, yeah, it took a long time. I haven't got there with raisins, but I also had that with cherries. My dad, fun fact about me, my dad used to own like a fruit stand in a part of Sacramento where like the Black community doesn't really have a lot of access to fresh fruits and vegetables. So he like rented out this spot in Oak Park in Sacramento, and he would like go to the market, bring fruits there. People could buy them. And I was so young, and I would just camp out next to the cherries, and I would eat them all day. And I would get in so trouble because we were supposed to be giving them to other people, but I ate them all. Can't do cherries. I actually can barely do cherry flavored
Cherry
anything.
will fuck up your stomach
So much. So yeah, that was little Jordan eating a bunch of cherries and raisins.
That is honestly a very cute image.
Guard.
Wow, the legend of your dad grows.
Right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Gerald.
Shout out to Gerald. Okay, so to your point about the ex-boyfriends, I don't think that with people you've decided to remove permanently, I don't think that's a grudge. It's just a decision. Like I have that with, friendships sometimes
they
are not good for you. You know what I mean? It's just like, you grow up, and the older you get, especially by the time you're in college, but then after college, you're just like, that actually didn't sit right with me. I don't think something I'd like to continue. You can break up with your friends.
You can.
So
I don't think a lot of people know that.
Boyfriends, I don't think it's a grudge. I think that's just fair play.
Great.
The only person one I can think of that's not like someone that's obvious like Mitch McConnell is John Calipari. Long standing
that runs deep.
Grudge with him. I mean, this man doesn't even know I exist, and I hate him with the power of 1,000 suns. So yeah, he doesn't know me, never will. But
good. Yeah.
If he ever feels like, I just feel like a bunch of heat on me today, like, and that's me from across the state.
You have like a John Calipari doll, and you're just poking it, hoping that he can feel something. He's not a robot.
I'm not saying I don't.
I love how I feel after a good workout. I feel strong, confident, and motivated. But your girl ain't young anymore. Those sore joints and muscles sometimes weigh me down and keep me from reaching my fitness goals. That's why I use the doTERRA Deep Blue Stick. It provides targeted, natural, and reliable relief without synthetic ingredients. Learn more at doterra.com/spinsters. That's DOTERRA.com/spinsters.
Okay, so the next question I feel like is teetering back into a category where I will understand it and you won't, because it's a show you don't watch, but I'm going to explain this person.
Yes, I had to look it up. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But I didn't get any information. I just was like, what is that?
Okay.
I didn't know it was a person.
There's a chance that, so it's a Love Island question. There's a chance that if you looked up her name, you know more information than I do. Because like I told you before, the US is on a 2-week delay of Love Island. So they get to watch it. And then like news articles will come up on Twitter. Like I'll be scrolling on Instagram and just a couple pictures will come up. I mean, it's been terrifying. Have I been meaning to get off social media for my mental health? Yes. Am I getting off of it because I want to avoid Love Island spoilers? Yes. So barely on. Okay. So at NetsFan122. No, wait, 11213. I wonder what the significance of that is.
Yeah.
11213.
1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 1 is 3. Boom.
Okay. Alan Turing. Jesus Christ.
Tell me if I got that right. NetsFan 11213, because that would be awesome. I just thought of that right
now. Okay, which NBA player gives the biggest Ekin-Su vibe? Again, this is a Love Island reference from the current season, I believe 8. Okay. Spoilers are coming because I have to explain this to Jordan, but only the American spoilers. If you are caught up in the American timing, then you're good. If you're on the English timing, then thanks for listening to this NBA podcast. And also, please don't comment anything to me. And if you're not caught up to any of them, skip 15 seconds ahead, probably like 3 times. I'll talk fast. 3 times. Okay. Ekin-Su is a Turkish soap show. What do you call them? Soaps? Soap opera?
soap operas. Yeah.
Okay. It just didn't feel right when it was coming out of my mouth. Soap opera actress. She is gorgeous. She came in hot. She came in like past when the initial couplings were made. So she's one of the people who came in from the outside.
Okay.
They inherently carry this kind of like, they make them say, I'm pretty sure make them say on the like video when they're about to enter the thing you watch, they're like, I'm not afraid to stir trouble and tread on people's toes. Because I guarantee if they were like, hey, can you say you're not afraid to tread on people's toes? And they're like, I don't want to say that. They're not letting you on the fucking show.
They definitely,
you know what I mean?
They want all the drama.
Yeah, of course. And so do I. I get it.
Yeah.
So Ekin came in and she was like, I am going to get to know everyone. I'm beautiful. I can be charming. I'm a huge people pleaser, which is something we find out right away. She makes pancakes for all the boys in the morning. She likes to work out with them. I'm just friends with boys. Yeah, like that kind of. But then later on, she kind of works out. There's Elfie. Oh, you hear her barking?
Yes, it was so cute.
I know. I think her bark's changed a little bit since we've moved to this new location. I'm sure it just means that she's home. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna keep going.
Go for
it. Okay, so by default, she gets her man that she wants because another man chooses the girl who man one wanted.
Got it.
So there's man one. She ends up with man one because the other girl man one was seeing was chosen by another guy. Like a love triangle that's wide open. It's not closed. You know what I mean? So she's with man one, Davide, who has no chat. He is just a hot Italian man who seems like he's got some sensitivities as time unwinds, but he's not the funniest guy in the bunch. I'll say that. Okay. Then she fucks him off for man two. She's like, this guy can talk to me. He's tall. He's hot, whatever. Then man two, who she's with now, is like, look, I don't know about you. Like, I got to know you way too fast. I think like our personalities don't line up. Like, you are very dramatic. You don't get along with the girls. I want a girl's girl, whatever. So then now that man two is like, I am not into you, Ekin, she's like, you know what? That's fine. Cause actually I think I'm still in love with man one. Has no chat. Now she's like, but she leans all the way in when she's into something. Like you can tell she's an all the way in person. She's like, I'm going to marry Davide. I love him. Like blah, blah, blah. Now keep in mind, we're recording this on Tuesday. If you're listening to this on Thursday, there's a chance that she's come back from Casa Amor with someone else. I don't know. All I'm saying is what I know right now. They've just entered Casa. That's all I've got for you. Okay. If you prove me wrong, what I'm hoping personally happens is that she says no to the new guys. She comes back to Davide and is like, I was being truthful because they seem like this weirdly very compatible. Like,
I mean, the names alone. Hot.
Yeah. Ekin and Davide. Yeah, exactly. Very interesting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not much under the surface level probably, but that's fine. So that's where we're at basically. So what that gives me is Carmelo Anthony. Wants to be wanted, pours their entire selves out into a relationship, but the minute it's looking like you're not getting the full reciprocation you want, you're not getting playing time, maybe you're fucking out, but in like a very big temper tantrum way, you're out. Loves drama, will start it, will be in it, will sit in it, will bathe in it. To me, I think it's Carmelo Anthony. I asked Sean because Sean and Christine watch Love Island. We have a group chat. And he said he thinks Jimmy Butler for the same reasons.
I thought Jimmy Butler as you were describing that, but I came back to James Harden actually. Like he comes in, he's the shiny thing. Everyone thinks he's going to be great. I feel like he wants to be a people pleaser so much. He kind of was like, I'm going to be all in on the Rockets. Love me, love me. That doesn't work out. Then he goes with guy number 1, which is the Nets. This is going to be great. This is going to be wonderful. Actually, this isn't working out. I'm going to fake an injury and go to guy number 2,
right?
Which is the Sixers. And then it's like, will he go back to guy number 1? We don't know.
Exactly.
But the drama aspect, that I was thinking James Harden, but Jimmy Butler did cross in my mind. I like that.
And to your point, James Harden was literally like, I wanted the Sixers all along. I never even wanted to be a part of the Nets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll update you.
Please do.
I'll also send you a picture of her. But I can't. That's the thing. I can't Google her. Like, you've got to Google her. I can't look up anything. It's devastating.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
I literally ruined my life by DMing me something.
Don't.
Spoilers.
Do not do it. Don't do it. I looked it up. It was a lot of Daily Mail articles of like, who is this person? It did say she was an actress. It kept saying that she was a bombshell. And I don't know if that was just describing her, if that was a part of the show, like the time that she came in.
Right.
But I got the vibes that she came in late. So I was just like really confused. But I got
bombshell more in the like revelation way than they do in the like appearance way. But I don't think it's necessarily out of the lingo. But most of the times they say it on the show, they're like, it's bombshell that someone's getting eliminated tonight.
Got it. Yeah. Like dropping a bomb.
Yeah. Now, who would I want to see on Love Island? That wasn't even a question that was asked. But I want to see Kevin Durant the most. I think we've already talked about that. We've literally already talked about this. He would be so good on a dating show because you always get people who genuinely want connection.
Yeah. And that's what I did read about her. She's like, I just want to spark. So James Harden, I just want to spark with someone. And I'm going to meet as many people. She can find it
because James can't. Couldn't this season, folks. Oh, I got to remember Harry's not here to edit out the jokes I don't think are funny.
That was funny. I laughed.
Thanks. Thank you.
That was good.
Okay. Now we're going on to a question from Natalie that is actually Kevin Durant related.
Yeah.
I was so excited when we got this. Okay. From Natalie, subject line, has Kevin Durant ever seen the movie Tangled? Hello, ladies and Harry. Love the pod. Thank you all for bringing me smiles in this hellscape of a society. I have a dumb, tangentially basketball related question that I wanted to ask you all. She did the heart with the less than sign or
less than sign. Yeah.
Less than sign and the 3, which I really like. I feel like that's bringing back kind of like you and Sean were talking about liking film camera. Something you got to take it back. It feels more authentic. Do we think that Kevin Durant's ever seen the movie Tangled? His Twitter picture has been that meme for almost a year at this point. I don't know why I just processed where it's from today. Do we think he even knows that the movie exists? I could see him being a low-key Disney adult, to be honest, but in a really vibes with the movie way, not with a makes it his whole personality way. Rare for a Disney adult. Would love to hear your thoughts. First of all, thank you, Natalie. That was so nice.
Thank you, Natalie.
And I didn't process that was the picture from the movie either until she said it.
Yeah. I actually processed it from the movie before the meme. I don't think I knew that it was a meme, but I was just like, oh, that's from Tangled, like immediately. I don't know what that says about me, but
so that's what I believe it was Isabel, our Gen Z coworker Isabel pointed out that this scene from Tangled was a meme format. So basically Kevin Durant's Twitter picture right now is this animated man. And the man is Flynn Rider from the Disney movie Tangled zoomed in. And the scene that's zoomed in is, if you zoom out of just what he's cropped for his profile picture, is a bunch, like 100 swords pointing in at Flynn. And Flynn is like kind of smiling a little bit. Yep. So I think what I automatically assumed was like, he's using this as a way to say, that's just like me. I'm just like this animated guy who was a meme, because the meme would be basically like that picture, the man with the 1,000 swords. And then it would be like some kind of slightly controversial take, like like James Harden is the greatest player of all time. You know, where you're like, I think this person's just doing this for interaction, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the meme. I looked into this a little bit. I think we've learned is that you're the better internet sleuth than I am. So I want you
I
to
found
go
a couple
first.
things,
Okay.
but I didn't get to I'll tell you my thought processes and the roads I tried to go down,
Mhm.
but they were dead ends. Okay, so first thing is Rapunzel, also just a great movie, by the way. If you've never watched it, you should watch it. Came out in 2010. Where was
Tangled.
Tangled? Tangled,
Tangled.
who has Rapunzel in it.
Is that who that
Rapunzel,
is?
yes, Rapunzel's the
Okay.
main character in Tangled.
I forget. That was a long time ago. It was 2010, to your point.
Long time ago, 2010. My first question was, where was Katie at that time?
Mm.
He was in Oklahoma City. He was about year 4. He could have turned on Tangled. Like, there's not a lot going on in OKC.
Right.
You definitely could have turned it on and watched it, because what else were you doing? So
Right.
that's one thought. Then I was like, okay, who voiced Rapunzel in Tangled? Mandy Moore.
Oh.
Tried to find a connection between Kevin Durant and Mandy Moore, and there was no connection.
Okay.
But
no Scarlett Johansson tweets for Mandy Moore.
None. I tried it. I looked for it. But the other thing that I tried to think about is, are there any kids in his life? Does he have nieces or nephews that maybe could have watched Tangled and he could have watched it with them? He does have a niece. You guys might have remembered in about 2014, that viral video of him just completely destroying her dreams and just blocking her shot as they're playing basketball.
Yeah.
And I'm like, after that moment, they could have definitely went back and watched Tangled as an apology. Or he just walks in to see one of his siblings. Tangled is on in the background. It's a possibility. That's as far as I got in my sleuthing.
That's about where I got, except it took me way longer to get there. I like searched his name and Tangled, and the first thing I saw was an interaction between this guy. I was like, has anyone ever asked why Kevin Durant's profile picture is the motherfucker from Tangled? One like, and then someone replies, it's self-explanatory. Did not explain it, I guess, because it's self-explanatory. Then I saw a tweet that said, laughing emoji, my man Kevin Durant straight changed his pick from Ham to Ryder from Tangled. It's been a long time since I've seen Tangled. I have definitely seen it, but it's been a long time. So I thought that Ham was a character in Tangled, because it says straight changed pick from Ham to Ryder from Tangled. The way that that's phrased doesn't give me much, that's automatically where my brain went. Plus, what would the alternative be? A picture of Ham? I couldn't remember what his former picture was. If you remember, I still do not remember.
Is it Ham from Toy Story? Wasn't his name Ham, the pig?
Oh, you're right.
I'll look that up. Keep going.
No, I think you're right. Okay, so basically I Googled ham tangled, and what came up was a bunch of recipes for something called chicken and ham tangled pie. And it looks like noodles on top of like the egg noodles that are twisty on top of a chicken and ham base. You don't have to bake it for as long as you would think, actually, but it definitely has no relation. I don't think it's probably something I'm super interested in eating, but it does exist. So then when I IMDb'd it, because I was like, obviously that's not what I meant. I saw that Hamuel is a character on Tangled the series, but then I'm like, wait, so there's no Ham in the movie, just the series? Like he's watching the Tangled series. Something about that did not feel right.
No. Yeah.
So I zoomed out and I was like, okay, either there's no way he's watching a spinoff. They mean the meat, but you figured it out. They meant the Toy Story thing, which leads me to believe he does like animated movies. And there's no shame in that. Like the Pixars, all of those, they're good. They've got little jokes for adults, Lego movie, whatever, that's fine. Like we said, like Natalie said, actually, he'd be like a Disney, not a capital D Disney adult. He'd be like an adult who has been known to enjoy, like he'll sit down and deal with it. He won't like make a huff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, wait. I figured it out.
Who Ham is?
Yeah, we're so wrong. It's not from Toy Story, and that's actually hilarious. Why did my mind go there? But it was Ham from Sandlot. Now I remember that.
Oh, the guy with the glasses?
The one with the freckles. He was like Ham Porter. He was kind of like the main character. I'll send it to you. But
Can you
yeah,
imagine naming your child
really long.
Hamilton, something with like that you think has so much prestige and history, and like, you know, there's a Broadway play, and like, you know, it's very interesting and historical.
His
and then these fucking
nickname is
kids call him Ham. I'd be pissed. That sucks.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. This makes a lot of sense, but it's still a kids movie.
It's still a kids movie.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not
I mean,
animated, but
definitely
still a kids movie.
A kids movie from his time, but at the same time, look, to your the only point that matters here is that he's got a niece. The niece, when he dunked on her in 2014, seemed to be somewhere in the like 5 to 10 range.
Yep.
So she had 2010 to 2014. Let's say she's like 8. I don't know, fucking mathematician over here. But you know what I mean? Like, she's definitely seen it. And here's the thing about kids. If you know one child or have watched one child for one afternoon, you know this. They're not watching movies like we watch movies.
Right.
She's only watching Tangled. If she likes Tangled, she's watching it on a fucking loop.
Yep.
The first thing when she wakes up, during her afternoon snack, at lunch, after dinner, to go to sleep. She's probably got a Tangled outfit that she sleeps in. Like, they're obsessed. I'm only saying she because it's his niece, of course.
Yes.
You know, male fans of
yeah.
Tangled exist and should. It's a good movie from what I remember. But yeah, anyway, I think the verdict is we think that he's seen it, and I do think he probably enjoyed it. It's an enjoyable movie.
It is an enjoyable movie. That was quite the journey. And honestly, there's a lot of things if Kevin Durant came on Spinsters and he was a girly. There's a lot of things we could talk about, but I would 5,000% lead with this question.
Oh, 100%. I would love to ask him. Oh, this guy. You're right. Yeah. With the freckles is the only way to describe. I wonder what he's up to now.
He was in that other soccer movie, right? Big Green. Was he in that?
I didn't see that one.
You didn't see that one? That was a good one.
Do you think it was weird for him that he was Kevin Durant's profile picture? Like, that's the most famous thing he's done in years. Has been Kevin Durant's profile picture.
That's where we should start. We should have him on the podcast. Then he's talking about what it was like to be his profile picture. And then who voices Flynn Rider? We should have him on too. Talk about his experience as
well. We could also do the find your meme. Like, where know your meme. Know your meme. Know your meme. Flynn Rider. Also, I just want to say, Natalie, real quick, we're looking at your email. Just judging from your signature sign off, you are too smart to be listening to the show. So please listen. Okay, unpopular opinion, Swords meme. Damn, it just. Oh, it can't. This is from the year 2015. Okay, I don't know. I thought it was gonna say like where it came from. All right. Well,
yeah, sometimes it's hit or miss. Anyway, actor Zachary Levi is the voice of Flynn Rider. He was also Shazam. Yeah, it's a DC superhero movie. Sorry. But anyway, we're going to get down to the bottom of it. That's as far as we got. It's a big maybe.
I'd say in a civil court. Wait, how do they judge civil courts?
I don't know.
The burden of proof or whatever. It would be a yes in a civil court. Yeah.
Cool.
But probably a no in a
like Supreme
criminal
Court
case. Yeah. In a
criminal case.
Cool. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. If you want to see that ham pie, I will send you the recipe. Okay. The next one is from Kenny, who's from Iowa. Shout out to Iowa. Isn't Keegan Murray from Iowa?
Yeah, that's where they where they played. Yeah.
Okay. He says, "Hello, friends. My wife and I are expecting our first baby.
Yay!
Congratulations. Yeah. Early September. Okay, so that means that your baby's gonna be a Virgo. Very on top of it, not gonna stand for any shit, precocious as all hell get out. Very good. Very logical. Oh, and it's going to be a girl.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
I grew up with a single mom and 2 younger sisters, so I have some experience with gals in that regard. Love that. I'm also married to my wife, which is pretty cool also. I'm wondering a couple of things from who I consider experts in the field. Oh,
Being
what kind of
girlies.
things, Kenny, you are a girly at this moment. What kind of things are you most glad for growing up that a parent or loved one did for you? That's part 1. Part 2, oh wait, it says 1 and then B. We are Minnesota Vikings fans, which is a miserable experience. For the NBA, I have just cheered for LeBron's team since he was drafted. He's 2 years older than me, and I watched him in high school, which was sweet. Do I need to buckle down and pick a team, or do I just tell my daughter for the next 15 years that we love whoever Luka Doncic is playing for? Thank you. You guys are awesome, Kenny, Iowa. Thanks, Kenny. Do you want to answer either or both? The first one is, what things are you most glad for growing up that a parent or loved one did for you?
That's a great question. I think, and I may have talked about this before, but just my parents were and still are just like, whatever you put your mind to, you can do. Like, they never shot down our dreams in sport. When I told them I was going to be in the WNBA, they're like, sure, let's go for it. You're only 5'6", but let's try it out. Like, they never shot me down. And I use my brother as an example all the time because he went to undergrad and he like started out as a major in science, and then he was like, you know what, I think I want to be a detective, and he was like, criminal justice. We're like, awesome, keep going. He's like, maybe a director. We're like, cool. And we're just cheering him on the whole time. Graduates and he's like, I'm gonna be a dentist, and now he's at Howard Dental School. And there was no time that my parents were like, that dream is dumb, don't do that. They were just constantly cheering us on and never shooting us down. And I think that like that had a huge impact on what I do now, and that I don't see a limit for anything. Like, it's possible because my parents never told me it wasn't. And I know that I want to do that for my kids. So that's one thing that my parents, amazing, Gerald and LaShawn, one of one. For your second question, be a Minnesota Lynx fan if you're a Vikings fan, because they're a little down right now, but you got some championships at least to hold on to. The hope of Maya Moore coming back is dead, but yeah, they will be on the up again soon. So definitely be a Lynx fan. And Luka Doncic is so interesting because sometimes the attitude, I don't know if that's the person I want to link to for 15 years. Like, I'm not sure. I know he's so fun to watch and he's so young and he has so much promise, but just like personality wise, he's not one of my favorites. So I'm not sure if you want to link to him for the next 15.
I'm with you.
Boom. Those are mine.
Sorry, God, the acid reflux is so bad today. It's so bad. I keep trying to hold it in because I know the edits are going to be minimal, but I'm like, usually I have to take like a mini burp break like 8 times during a show, and held it in for quite a long time, I think.
Burp break.
The things I'm glad for that a parent or loved one did growing up. I think I have another one that's kind of you said the W. Mine is also sports adjacent. They just didn't make it weird. Like, I never understood the traditional, or was introduced to the traditional gender roles of fandom until I went to my friends' houses. That was one of the things where people always talk about like, oh, this is different at your friend's house, you know, like whatever small little thing. And that's a bit of a weird awakening for a kid. I did not know that like girls didn't always watch sports with the rest of the family, that mom didn't, that there was this, and you know, all of this now in 2022 doesn't really sound as, but when we were growing up, it did feel like that.
Yeah.
It was still very much like that. I don't know. Maybe it still is now. I just don't think it is as much. But just not even making it anything, you know, we're all watching, or at least in my house, we were all watching the Women's World Cup. My dad's birthday is tomorrow. He's getting WNBA League Pass because he's so annoyed he can't get any of the games here. there was just never like a divide for really anything fandom wise. And also that extends to like teaching the game. There are some things rooted very young. I think when I always would make a defense for my friends who were like my female friends who were like, I like sports, I just don't know anything about them. And as if that's some kind of like qualifier for whether you can be a fan or not. But a lot of it goes back to it's not necessarily interest. You don't know what your child is interested in if you're not introducing them to more things. So this is definitely one of those where even as simple as identifying the rules, even if it's a sport that is at least professionally just played by men. So like, football, all of those. And having her back herself as well in those conversations that will come up or whatever, it's not going to be as weird as it was like for me and Jordan, where it was sort of a like challenging those things later on in life was like people flirting with you. I mean, it's just all kinds of like gross, weird shit
stuff
that I don't think people have to deal with as much now, which is good.
Yeah.
Nothing like we had to deal with so much. It's just that I hope these little things in being a sports fan that were so weird and difficult sometimes that I didn't know were weird and difficult until I stepped out of my own house. Are not there. I mean, my mom played soccer in college, so she was like the athlete of the family. One of my dad's stories about like their first date was how they like took down this team 2-on-2. It's always been very like
so cute.
Everyone in the family is playing sports. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with my family.
Yeah. And we're very like, I mean, maybe it's made me who I am. So, on here, I'm an oversharer and I'm very sentimental and like very soft person, but we're a very sentimental family. Like, I swear I used to text, like when I was texting my mom, I'd be like, what's the recipe for the whatever salmon that you use, blah, blah, blah. And she would text back the recipe and then she'd end the message in like, okay, love you. Like every single text. This is before we like really texting. So now she doesn't do it, but like every single time we get off the phone, whatever, we're just a very like mushy family. So that I think has definitely affected me in a way that I want to be this way. Yeah. And then for the second question about the fandom, it's so interesting because I think parents always have this conundrum when they're parents of a bad team. Like, do I carry this on to my child? Because they think about you almost can't imagine it being another way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I actually was going to say the exact same thing Jordan did. It's hard for me to imagine changing my relationship to a league. So for example, like with the NFL, I'm not a general fan. I'm a Ravens fan. In college basketball and football, I'm not a general fan. I'm a diehard Louisville Cardinals fan. With the NBA, I'm a general fan. I'm a fan of the players who I think are good, similar to you, Kenny. So what I would say is like, take a league that you don't have that much of an attachment with players or team wise, like the W. I was going to literally suggest it because you said you're Vikings fans, and that's the team that you can be like, this is our team. And it does have a greater chance just because there's less teams in the W of like one day turning around.
It will turn around.
Doesn't have to be the Lynx, but that's what I would say is like start that, because then it's also a gesture of what I was talking about in the first part of, if you just don't make a big scene out of women's sports, if the next generation doesn't make a scene out of it being women's sports, and I mean that even when people are being positive, like the entire coverage of women's sports shouldn't just be like, and it's amazing because she's a woman.
Yes, exactly.
That is trivializing the sport just as much as it is like the conversations about, if the only coverage is about how athleticism measures up and pay, the actual sport itself will never be beloved as much with open arms.
Totally.
And all of its like little storylines, little dramas, little, like, wow, this player's so much better this year. So part of that is just saying like, I'm going to love the sport and show my daughter how I love the sport without having the condition of like, it's a woman's league.
Yes.
So I think that's a win-win because they'll definitely, you pick a W team, they're going to win before the Vikings win.
Any one of them.
Yeah, no
even if there's a new, like there's going to be expansion in a couple years, like you can be the first person on the bandwagon of a new W team, and that could be you and your daughter's thing. I think it's also just important to, even if she doesn't grow up playing basketball, just watching the W and the women that are in it and what they stand for and what the players in the league are about. It's like so inspiring, even from little Jordan when I was watching the WNBA. Like I loved basketball, but if she doesn't choose whatever sport she chooses, even if she doesn't choose sports, there's just something so powerful in watching team sports and watching a league like the W and how they move through things. So yeah, that's so exciting. Kenny, you're going to be a dad. It's going to be awesome. Oh my God.
Congrats.
Kenny, we're so proud of you.
Shout out to Kenny.
Great job.
Okay, this next one this is from Mark. Oh, hi Mark. It says, what does it say about LeBron that his two fiercest rivals are Enes Freedom and Mario Hezonja? And then he says, not a question, but a comment. Raptors fans love Kawhi. Yes, he left, but we won a championship. Not sure where the Raps fans hate Kawhi came from.
Yeah, I think
please take your show on the road to Toronto. We definitely would love to. Yeah. I think that when I hear I don't think it's that I've ever heard that Raptors fans hate Kawhi. It's just that it seems like the larger like NBA conversation about like when you leave a team after you win a championship, like that's where the hate's coming from, not specifically a Raptors fan. If that's what you mean, then we're on the same page. I don't think I've heard any Raptors fans say they hate anything, really. So they hate the lack of coverage. I've heard that. Yeah. Which is fair enough. Yeah.
That's fair.
I think, so a literal answer to this question about what's it say about LeBron, I think it just is that his rivals have been in different generations from him. One, not even crossing over playing with him. Like that's the level he's on. So it's kind of funny. I mean, you just can't even, he's aged out of the mellow, if you'd call it like a rivalry, them being pinned against each other. He's aged out of almost every person that they've put against him. So that just speaks volumes about his game. But I think that online, certainly, which is what both of these are referring to, he's getting beat quite a lot. He's got a bad presence online. It's getting worse. He might want to think about
so bad
getting a private, I don't know, he seems to really like the engagement and saying stuff, and I love that for him, but
he likes it too much.
I mean, he's just it's so Gen X-y at this point. Like he needs to understand that he's setting himself up to get dunked on. Like the coolest thing he's ever done online was "You Bum." That was so great.
Yeah, that was the best, and he could have just stopped there.
But
that was just the start.
Yeah. I will say, if you are looking to dunk on LeBron, I hope you're in New York because it's probably going to work out better for you there. Yeah. Do you have any advice for the rivals of LeBron, or you want to move on to the next one?
We can move on. I think it's just the online presence of LeBron is not great, and to your point, I think he likes it too much that he will never like hire somebody to just do his tweets and social for him. He loves it. He loves the hashtag. He loves the exclamation points. It's definitely like an older family member who you're like, this is the internet, and they're like, yeah, you could say all this, you could do all this, and he's like that every time he posts. So he's never he's gonna keep making rivals and enemies on the internet because that's who he is. So,
yeah. It's like when so we were on MySpace, that was cool, and then there was Facebook, and we got on Facebook, and then like 4 years later, all of our relatives got on Facebook. And
my parents were actually on Facebook before me.
Oh,
I
surprised me. Did you
held on? Yeah, I held on to MySpace for so long. I loved MySpace. I loved how I was basically a coder in like 7th grade.
It was cool, yeah.
my page had like all the white space and the gaps and made it very artsy. And then everybody left. Everyone went to Facebook. My parents were like, come on over. It's like, oh no. Which I think is going to happen to Instagram. Instagram is on the downward
It's out.
spiral.
We were talking about this. I was so relieved. I posted 3 pictures yesterday. I was so fucking relieved that Instagram's over. My little sister says it's over.
It's over. It's not coming back.
My littler, but not as little as the other one sister, said that she can see that. Talked to her yesterday. Yeah. So I'm posting now. I don't care because I'm like, well, it's over. Like it's gonna end. Yeah.
There's some freedom in that.
Yeah, there's freedom in that. I'm like, damn, when the fuck is Twitter gonna end? Like this does nothing good for me. I'm still on it.
I think when Elon Musk was coming in there, I think they were saying it was gonna end, but that didn't happen. So I don't see Twitter ending anytime soon. People will always have something to say, and there will always be someone there to respond in a snarky way.
Yeah. I can't get his big ass rib cage out of my mind.
Yikes.
I feel like we're gonna, I just can't.
It shouldn't be in there. It shouldn't be in your mind. It shouldn't be in any of our minds.
Yeah, that's my problem with Twitter is that I see so much stuff I didn't ask to see. Sometimes it's just like, how this thing was bad before? Well, here's 5 ways it got worse. And then sometimes it's just Elon Musk in a swimsuit. Just translucent as he could be,
Hashtag content. Yeah.
Oof. Okay. The next question is from Harrison. Hi, Harrison. It's called
Harrison.
Quirky comfort foods. Hello. My mailbag question relates to quirky comfort foods, specifically a food that you grew up eating that you crave to this day that basically no one else seems to understand unless they're in your region family. For me, it was a popular Japanese plantation food called chazuke that essentially is any kind of hot tea, usually green or black, mixed together with the sticky rice left over from your meal. Ooh, it's not fancy, it's not expensive, and it's not particularly elegant, but whenever I'm not feeling my best, it's always what I turn to. Oh, that's so cute. That sounds delicious.
Aloha, Harrison.
What's yours?
This one was tough for me. And I don't know if it was something that I'm craving, but something that just like instantly brings me back to hot, summer day in Sacramento or something like that. One of the things that Fred and I were talking about recently was just like ramen and all the gross ways that we would eat it as a kid, like during recess. And everyone would just bring raw top ramen to recess. Absolutely. And we would just munch on it. And it was so, I couldn't imagine eating that now, but every time I see
I can
just raw. Like,
yeah, it was like a cracker. Yeah, it was good. Ooh. I remember that. Yeah.
That was a time where you would pour the seasoning, like close the bag back up, shake it. Oh my gosh. But I probably would still eat it, and I eat ramen, of course. But just walking through the grocery aisle, it's just like, boom, that's a food that instantly takes you back to a specific point in time. And it's so much comfort of just like, we were all experiencing that at the same time. That was such a playground recess favorite. But that, I don't know if that's region specific. I feel like we all did that, but that's something that's
good.
That's one that came to mind.
What about mine you? Are definitely, region specific is not necessarily something that my mom would make. Is Skyline. I think it's everyone's favorite thing that when they learn of Skyline, to like see a picture of it and dunk on how disgusting they think it is, or like a lot of people will taste it and not like it. I love it. It's just runny chili on top of spaghetti with cheese on top, or sometimes it would be on a coney. It's delicious. Wow. But my main one that my aunt and my mom make really well is a hot brown. What
is that?
It's a dish from Louisville. I think it makes sense that it would have come first from the Brown Hotel. That's what I always like thought of it coming from for some reason. But it's like thick toast, like really thick toast. And then you're putting turkey on it, and then this like kind of cheesy sauce. I don't know how to describe
Oh,
the sauce. It's
wow.
definitely cheese, but it feels like there might be like
Okay.
some hollandaise in there. It's like a creamy, cheesy sauce over top of the whole thing.
Hollandaise.
And then you put bacon on it. And
It's called a
yeah,
hot brown. Is this a breakfast food?
no, it's a dinner because you are going to be out.
Oh.
If you ate this for breakfast, you are not getting up. Yeah. And the weirdest part is, and I truly know that how this is going to sound, but like the weirdest part is that traditionally it's served with a peach on top.
Whoa.
A slice of peach. Yeah.
That threw me.
I
What
don't
does
know
that
how to
even
explain
go
it.
with?
The peach.
Peach and bacon?
No,
I
yeah,
don't
honestly,
know.
I don't know. I always eat the peach because it's there, but
Huh.
yeah.
I mean, that
And
sounds
then
comforting. It sounds like
it's
comfort
delicious.
food.
Yeah, it really is delicious. We have them every time I'm at my aunt's house for the Derby. She'll make them, or like a nice, event, or like someone did something nice, or yeah, she makes really good ones. My mom makes really good mashed potatoes. So I always feel like her mashed potatoes are like a big Jesus. I'm so homesick. Like, let me put on Billy Joel, make her recipe. It's never the same,
Mm,
hers is always better, but that's like my homesick food. Um,
nice.
yeah. I was trying to think of something like regional family, like that's just exclusive to us. And
Yeah,
I know
that's
that my
hard.
mom makes potato candy every year, but like I don't even know how to explain that one.
Wow.
That is,
Potato
I guess,
candy.
exclusive to our family. I mean, it's like an Irish thing, but we're like not we're definitely Irish on both sides, but it's like American person Irish. It's like, yeah, da 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 da. Like it's like my grandpa's grandpa. So
Okay.
yeah.
And that's where the potato candy came in, started. Oh,
Let's see if I can get a picture of it.
yeah. And by the way, I looked up a hot brown. That looks good. That does look like hollandaise sauce-esque, which I
You
love.
have literally
Love an
you'll
egg
have one
benny.
when you come here.
Yes. That looks good. Oh, this one's in like a skillet.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really
Huh.
good.
Yeah, that does look good.
All these pictures have
Texas
tomato.
toast.
I guess you can add tomato. We don't. Okay, the last one
Oh.
is from Chelsea. Hi. So Spinsters is a podcast about basketball. I would agree most of the time. Basketball players are good at basketball. I would agree most of the time. At least a few are very good. Podcasters are good at talking about stuff. Maybe not all of them are good at podcasting. Spinsters are in my top 5 podcasts since I discovered it. How does one decide to turn what you're good at or what you love, whatever it is, into a career? Is it an innate desire or peer pressure?
Hmm.
All the best, Chelsea. That's a good question. Do you want to go
That
first?
is a good question. I guess for me, there wasn't peer pressure in it. I think I have always wanted to merge what I like with what I do. I know some people that don't do that, and they're, maybe what's going to make the most money isn't always what you love. And I've always been the person that said, how can I turn everything that I like, or talking to people that I like, or just making that a career. And so to me, I think I'm in the boat of an innate desire. It was always something that I wanted to do, because even before I wanted to be a journalist, before I even knew what a journalist was, I was like, I really like Disney Channel. How can I be on Disney Channel? Can I go to acting school so I can be an actress and be on Disney Channel? Because that's what I like. Like, to me, that was always the connection of what I was going to do. I know there was encouragement for people to say, like, hey, when you ask a lot of questions. I was always the kid that asked my dad a question all the time. If we're watching a sport, if we're watching anything on TV, if he's working in the backyard, I'm asking questions. So there was a point where my dad was like, you should ask questions. Like, you should talk to people. And I think you'd be good at that, because you're always talking and you're always talking to me. So I don't think that was necessarily peer pressure, but getting a nudge in the right direction of like, this is the idea that you can go down. And then basketball being in that, talking to people, me playing basketball, that's kind of how it all rounded into the freelance life that I'm living. So, yeah. What about you?
You know what? I've been having a lot of thoughts about this lately. That have been changing that probably would be different like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, or if you asked me. It's definitely lucky that we get to do things like this and writing and
Yeah.
the video stuff and be paid for it. Don't get me wrong. That's very cool because I don't think I have any other skills. I don't even consider this a skill. So I'm like, I don't really know what else I would do.
You are good at this and you have other skills.
Okay. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. This is definitely nice. But I think that what you realize when you get, and I know you would agree with this, Jordan, when you get older, is that even if it's a dream job, it's still a job.
Yes.
And jobs should not be in your dreams. They should not. Like, it should be a separate thing. There are achievements, like definitely career wise, but I think sometimes when you're choosing something that is known or interpreted as like a passion career, kind of like this, you think that this has to be your entire life, and that pressure can kind of make everything collapse on top of what actually could be a very whole life. I just decided, I was like, when I was around like 18 or 19 or 20 or whatever, I was like, I would love to do this as a job, just writing about sports. Now I think my 20 or 18 or 19-year-old self will be so surprised at what my goals and dreams are, because not a single one of them has to do with my career.
Yeah.
And that is really the most, once I made peace with that, that's like the most divine sanity I've ever felt, is just making peace with the fact that, like, even if this all falls apart tomorrow, they tell me no one's listening except your mom and Jordan's dad and Harry's parents, who I adore. Like, then it's fine, because I can go figure out how to do something else. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but all of the pressure that you have to attach to like making something your identity, like, because when it's a passion job, when it's a job, it's like, I love this thing so much, I'm going to turn it into a job. It becomes so deeply intertwined with your identity that the pressure of it possibly not working out is so suffocating that then you start to not even be able to evaluate, like, is this still what I want? Do I want to do sports? Or, I don't know, whatever the situation is for whatever someone's chasing, that's like their dream job. Do you actually want to do it? Because when you chose this, you were 20 years old probably, or 18 or 19. And you are such a different person at 18 than you are from 22, let alone 30. And so then there might be an instance where you have to have this conversation with your 33-year-old, 35-year-old self, where you're like, actually, that thing that we were so set on doing, I don't feel like we have to do it anymore. And what if we just didn't? And then there's this reckoning that takes a while. That's like, but then who am I? And all of those kinds of things are a lot easier to reckon with if you have a fixed identity outside of your job, which is the whole reason that I'm saying this. And like, I can say it to you, Jordan, is because I know you do. Like, I've known that since the minute I met you. And that's something that I really loved about you, because I did not at all. I was like, okay, so I'm like, this is my thing. I'm going to like know about sports, and like, hopefully I can do some writing or something. And like, it was always just kind of like funneled into, so this, I think this is like what I want and who I am. And yeah, maybe some of it was like I don't think actually peer pressure. No, actually I do. Because you'd always get, what's so cool that you're doing this? Like, I wish I was doing this. But then you realize you're working like 50 fucking hours a week minimum, usually 60. And it's like, for what? Is this what I dreamed of? Like, to not make any money, to be working this hard, to get so burnt out. There's nothing wrong with putting what you love into a career, as long as you understand that you need to replace it with things that you also love, because that love is going to waver.
Yes.
Because you shouldn't love your job. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't love it like it's a fixture in your life, because it's, at the end of the day, employment, and all kinds of fucked up things happen with the economy.
And it's like, I think a key thing of what you're saying is like dreams can change. Like your dream job can change. And especially if, I know that's what happened to me, is like, at first it was not sports. I was in lifestyle. I was going to be in print. I was a magazine editor. And then I was like, well, I love sports. Let's make it my job. And quickly I was like, shoot, do I still love sports? Like it when you merge them, it has to be the right situation, or else you cannot like the passion that started this whole thing. Exactly. And that would be the worst, is like you not loving your job and then you not liking the passion part of it that got you in it in the first place. So it can change, it can waver. And we talk about all the time of having that separation, because for a long time, it was my identity, like my career, my success, anything that went well. And if I had a good byline, if I had a bad byline, like that defined me. And it can't be that way, because at the end of the day, I'm still going to go pick up a basketball. I'm still going to watch basketball. I love basketball. And it just so happens that it's merging with how I make a living. But I think we both can agree that it took us a while to like get there and separate, and then come back at a very reasonable distance with our passions and what we love, and how it needs to be separate. It needs to be something else, and it can't define you, take over everything, and your job cannot be a part of your dreams, like you said. Yeah, I love that. You got to have bigger ones.
And maybe it shouldn't be that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that you shouldn't love your job. I just don't think that you should put it in the place of something that you could love, that could love you back. Because when it becomes work in a way that you're paid for it, it changes the dynamic. And the thing that people, especially our age, Gen X definitely, and I hope, and I see Gen Z rebuking, is like, this is supposed to be your life. You're supposed to love this unconditionally, and you're supposed to want to hustle so much and give your youth to it and live in these shitty places, and all because one day you might make it. It's like, well, no, that sounds like a terrible agreement, you know? And so obviously your job does not love you back. Definitely do things that bring you enjoyment in your career. I would say just don't expect it to be the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have some other things.
Pulling me out of that. That didn't mean to be a depressing answer, just a really realistic one. Chelsea, I mean, you're like,
yeah, Chelsea asked how we decided, and that's how we decided to turn what we're good at, what you love, into a career. Yeah. We decided that, but we did not make it who we are, and we got other fun stuff that we love and other things going on. Yeah, definitely. Which is good. It is actually positive. Right. Maybe it doesn't seem like it's positive, but it is positive.
Give it a couple more
Chelsea,
years.
You got this. I mean? If you're thinking about a career change, do what Beyonce said and release. What did she say? Release me from this job. Actually, maybe not. I don't know. Beyonce has a lot of money. And Break My Soul.
I know. She came out with a song and I was like, I love this and I love you. You have nothing will break your soul. You have so much money.
You have so much money. The money will break your fall if something does break your soul. Like, you'll be fine. Yes. So
do what you love, Chelsea. Follow whatever new thing you want to do, because you, Chelsea, yourself is much stronger than any job, career change, whatever. You'll still be Chelsea at the end of the day. In years.
Amen.
Be positive.
Be positive.
See, I'm positive. Okay. Perfect. Wow, we finished with a minute to spare.
Yeah. Spinsters mailbag. I'll actually do the sign off this time. If you have any other questions for us, please, you can email us at spinsters@bluehourpods.com. can leave it on a voicemail at 502-874-4453. We would love to answer them. We love talking to you guys. Thank you.
Oh, I think that was good.
That was good.